Hello, everybody. What's up? I did like a deep inhale, and then we're out here, dude. It's Tyson Teddy Talk episode 8 for January. What day is today? 23rd, 2021. This is going to come out on, what, 25th, I believe? Yeah. And hello. I'm Teddy. This is Tyson.
Hello.
We were just talking about Christmas things and games and Halloween games and movies and all sorts of stuff like that. I was talking about how I have Jerry the Christmas Beaver still up, which if you're listening to the audio version, you can see him on Tyson Teddy Talk YouTube channel. That he's right there. I got Aang too, but he's not Christmassy. He's just in our hearts at all times. You know?
Is he though?
He's in my heart. And he'll never leave.
No, I was saying
specifically the season 3 Aang where he has hair.
I don't know. Okay. Speaking, we were talking before about Halloween or like horror games, and I've started. Well, I guess this is because of the news this week, because of the Resident Evil 8 Village news. I've been going down the rabbit hole of like I want to play all the Resident Evils again, and I was trying to find which ones. I've only not played 4 because it was like a GameCube exclusive. Right?
Yeah, don't people have really like mixed opinions on 4 where like some people really love it and some people really hate it?
No, I think everybody loves it because it changed how.
But that's why I thought people didn't like it, was because it kind of changed the genre and got a little more actiony.
No, that was 5. 5 is really actiony.
5.
And 5 added co-op. 4.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think
4 was the one. It was still very horror and
okay.
But then it changed like the actual mechanics. So instead of like tank controls, I don't think there were tank controls in 4. I think that's when they broke away from that, which is one of my least favorite things about Resident Evil. But I want to play all of them again. Not the remasters, but I want to play all the old ones. And so I'm going to try and find. There's like a sale on right now. My cat just.
I mean, have you played the remasters before too?
Oh yeah, I played both 2 and
good.
3.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, well, you know, you gotta at least play those once. I am not a spooky game dude. I don't like spooky games. So stay away from them as much as possible. But I've been really meaning to do a charity stream soon. And instead of setting a spooky game literally as a goal, I was thinking of just starting and playing a spooky game because I really want it to be successful. And I know that people enjoy watching that as much as I don't love doing it. So
you feel alive. Because like video games are so much different than horror movies. Horror movies, I just don't get scared at. I don't get jump scared. I don't get creeped out. I'm just like, because I don't know what it is. It's just like I'm watching somebody else do something, and so it's not like scary. I don't know what it is. But when I play a video game that's like a horror, first person especially,
it's the worst.
It's
so
just
terrifying.
Like, yeah, especially like Alien Isolation. I remember playing that one, and that one was because it's like procedurally. It's like sort of procedurally. The alien can like show up at any time, and so that part alone makes it just like you can't just like die and then respawn and then be like, okay, well he's gonna pop out of there.
Because the save system in that game was terrifying too.
But even like. It's not scripted. Like nothing is scripted, so you can't prepare for like, oh, he's gonna come out of that door, and then I can go under here. Because then the next time you go through that, he might not be at that door, and it's like it's so perfect, but it sucks at the same time. But I love that game for that. It was just a little too long.
Yeah, as somebody who I've played Outlast, Amnesia, and Soma. I think those are the 3. And then also Alien Isolation. I've played all... I think those are the horror games that I've played before. Yeah, Alien Isolation was easily my least favorite. Like, I just genuinely did not enjoy that as a game. And it's more because of, like, the save system. Because, like, in a horror game, and it's not necessarily the game's fault because I'm already coming in there not loving horror games. So it's like... It's like the scary part is already there. You don't have to make me terrified that I'm not going to find the right save at the exact point, and then it happens and I got to do it all over again. But it also was, there was some weird gameplay things in there that like just got, it was long and tedious. Like Dragons actually paid for me to play that. And at a certain point I'm like, dude, I'm just genuinely bored. Like, I'm sorry. And he's like, you can stop. It's okay. But I got about probably about halfway through, I think, of that game. And it wasn't terrible, but it's just not for me. But Soma is my favorite out of those because Soma had a very like weird, cool sci-fi story to it. Which is why, like, if I do another charity stream, I'm thinking of doing Amnesia Rebirth because it's the same dev.
Do Resident Evil 7 because it's on Game Pass.
Oh God.
For
damn it,
PC.
jeez.
And that
Like,
one
absolutely
is so
not.
good.
That one
It
is terrifying.
So good.
Holy
No, well,
fuck.
see, that's the thing. Is like I don't
I've seen people play
like
that game.
with Outlast and Soma and all those other ones.
Outlast was the
you
worst
don't-
for me for scare factor.
Like, don't you like you never get weapons?
No, they're like
So yeah, I do not
they're
like.
all just
I do
about
not play those games
getting
because it's like
spooked, that's it.
I like still the power fantasy. It was like, okay, well, you're gonna
Yeah,
start off
but
with
you
like
do not
an
have
axe or
those
a
skills.
hatchet, and then by the end of the game, you got grenade launchers, you got flamethrowers, you got
which at least gives you
shotguns.
some sense of
Yeah, and I
you
like
know,
that. I like that
safety.
arc in a horror
Yeah.
movie or in a horror game where it's like you start off with like nothing, and you're scared, and then by the
Yeah.
end, you're like, okay, I'm gonna kill everything. I like that.
Yeah, that's fair. Dude, Outlast was the worst. I remember people telling me to do Outlast 2 when that came. I'm like, fuck no.
Yeah.
Outlast was so bad because it really was genuinely like, you cannot do anything. You're a dude with a camera and you're going through this like haunted, like, I don't know, like hospital, I think. And just discovering shit and things are chasing you and you have to like hide in these lockers. It's just running and hiding and it was terrifying.
I don't like
Because
that.
like there are certain points too where you start to understand the game. So you're like, I know that if I leave this, something's gonna happen, but I can't stay here because I'm not gonna progress. So like that became the worst. Everybody like I would end up just pausing sometimes and be like, guys, let's just talk about something. I'll just try and stall, and then eventually everybody's like, stop stalling, go. I'm like, fuck, and I'd have to get out and just be like, just run. Because I just would psych myself up about it being terrifying. I'm a wimp when it comes to that stuff. I don't like horror movies or games, but
Yeah, you
I
should
might
definitely
play one of
do
those.
Resident Evil 7.
Speaking of Game Pass, dude,
So
fucking remember when I was talking about how one day in 3 years I want to play Final Fantasy 15 after I
Now
play 7 Remake, of course.
leaving.
But now it's leaving Game Pass, so I was like, well, no. There's
Well,
that.
There's better Final Fantasies on Game Pass than 15. I think the rest of them are.
Are there actually other? I didn't even know there were other ones on Game Pass.
I think
I
9.
played, by the way.
I don't know if 8
speaking of
is.
Game Pass, last night I streamed for an hour and a half, hour and 45 or something, and I hopped on and I was thinking of just jumping it. It was one of those weird nights where I was like, let's just open all the MMOs I have and try and remember how to play each of them. And I opened Black Desert Online, by the way. What the
I've deleted,
fuck? For
I've
the
deleted
first
everything.
20 minutes, I was like, what's all on my screen? Which BDO is literally the most convoluted and complicated MMO out there. Why did I decide to jump into that one as my first revisit? But at a certain point, I did sort of kind of start getting it, and then there was like this weird cutscene that was about this story that I had not played in 5 years, and I was like, another day, and I closed it. But then I went over to Game Pass and I opened up this one game that I've heard about forever and just haven't played. Fucking Donut County. That game's so cute and so fun. It's a great little game, and I know why everybody was like talking about it. It's only like 2 hours. I played about half of it, I think, because I played it for about an hour, and I was like, "This is great. I love why everybody like. I totally get it." Because everybody was talking about it. All I knew about that game was that it's short. It's an indie game. And you're just a hole, and you devour things, and the hole gets bigger, and you just swallow the town. And that's what I knew about that game. And then I started playing, and it has like a little story to it. And I thought it was more of like an arcadey like kind of thing where you're like racking up points or something. But no, it's like a little story. And you go into this one, like you try and swallow a carrot, and then and then the carrot gets stuck, and then you got to go over to the rabbit, and the rabbit will eat the carrot. It's adorable. It's great. But just random thing that I played last night. Good game.
Yeah,
Haven't really played much
I've
games
deleted
lately.
all of my other MMOs. Well, I guess it was only like I had WoW downloaded for some reason. I guess I don't know why that was taking up so much room. And then
It's not too big of a file, weirdly.
and then I deleted SWTOR as well. I uninstalled because I was like, there's just no way I can't even begin to juggle multiple. And
With
it's like
how
especially
you play MMOs.
Yeah.
That's fair.
because I'm like halfway I think done Stormblood now. And man, that game it just keeps on delivering. Like everything is
That's what I
just
hear.
so much cooler. At first at the beginning of Stormblood, I was like, "Oh, this story's kind of boring." And then I was talking to some people and they're like, "Yeah, like it's more about like the people and the places you go instead of this like huge story like Heavensward was." Cuz Heavensward was this really big epic story and like you have a bad guy front and center and you kind of know what the story sort of is going to be and it's still pretty epic. But then at the beginning of Stormblood it's just like, oh, we're kind of gathering allies to do something. You're not really quite sure where it's like ramping up to. But then you go to these places and I just got to like I guess it's Kugane and it's like this very like I think it's where the samurais are. Then there's this other one, this other place, I forget what it's called, but it's mostly a water map. And then you finally learn how to dive and you can like swim underwater. And there are like ninja turtles, like they're little,
Nice.
there's like beast tribes. And this one beast tribe in this area has like a huge shell on their back and they look literally like ninja turtles. And
That's
I'm like,
great.
this is so
Love
cool. And you can like do beast tribe quests. And there's just so much. And I've gotten into crafting, so I'm like learning all that kind of stuff. And man, that game is just
The only MMO I've actually played for any sort of substantial amount of time in the last week is SWTOR, and I played it for like 2 hours one day. One day I didn't have, like, I don't remember what I was going to do. I think it actually might have been last Saturday. I think I might have talked about it. I don't know. But, like, I think last Saturday I had a little bit of time, and I sat down and I was like, what do I want to play? I don't know. And I opened SWTOR and just did quests for a couple hours and just ran around with the lightsaber, and I was like, this is fun. Like, I'm playing games these days. I don't have much time, so I'm playing things in very small amounts of, small chunks of time, so...
yeah.
It is what it is.
Mostly like right now, I guess I'm sort of just waiting for the next season in Destiny because everything
Which
else
I've given
is
up any hope
pretty
of
much done.
catching up on. So,
But you can do all of the stuff. You just can't get like say the title. But like you can get Hawkmoon. The Hawkmoon missions, pretty much everything's staying except for like
oh really? Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Wait, didn't they say they
said
said
in
that
the
for
12.
this year, right? Like, well, I fucking. When was the last time I read a fucking TWAB? Like,
Really? Man, I eat those things up as soon as it's out on Thursday.
I used to when I played the game regularly. Whenever I play the game regularly, I'm in there. But like when I stop, I don't care. I'm not playing the game. But like, I think they said that when they kind of announced like the year of content. I think they said that a while back of like that each seasonal stuff is gonna stay for the year. I think.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, that's good. I
When
forgot
they say
about
like
that.
they said there's a couple things that are changing. Like they've said like Crow might be in two sort of destinations. Like he's
okay.
moving, but then like if you didn't do some
that's
of the
fair.
things, and I'm like, yeah, that's an MMO. It's
How
like,
you
there's
go
some
about
things-
doing it probably is going to be different, right? Like you're going to go to a different place to start a thing for the season, you know, because
Yeah.
it's going to evolve with the world, but like it's still going to be available. That's cool.
That's what I like.
I'm all right with that.
People, so
Oh shit.
there's like a quest, and then I won't say what happens, but then like there's like a little cutscene with Crow, and then people like you go to where Crow is and he's still there and people are like, oh my god, Crow's still here, and I'm like, yeah, you're playing a video game. Like they're not gonna take the NPC that is still giving you quests or still giving you bounties like during this season and put them in another location. That'll be the next season. He'll be in another location.
I mean,
that's an
like,
MMO.
You can't do that because then, like, I don't know, is he going to be there for you, but for your friends who's in your group who haven't finished that, he's in the other spot? You know what I mean? Like, you can't do that.
Like, you can
gotta,
do that.
like,
they have, like, lines, which are the seasons, where it's like, oh, now it's season 14, No, season
Yeah.
13. And then now Crow is in this destination. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, that makes sense. He's not going to all of a sudden just be gone because you watched a
Yeah.
cutscene.
And then like it just wouldn't work for gameplay. Like if you were
No.
there with a friend and he was gone for you, your friends, he's there for them. That's
Or it's
that's
like, yeah, like
weird.
he's gone and then what? What if I didn't pick up my bounties and then you don't know where? Like, it's just, that doesn't make any sense.
No,
So it was
that's
funny
weird.
that like everybody, when they did that mission, they're like, oh, Crow's still here. And it's like, yeah, you're playing a video game.
Yeah.
Not like,
What did you expect? Yeah, that's good that stuff is gonna stay. I just remembered the reason why I was like, oh fuck, is like Vault of Glass is gonna happen at some point
in the summer.
this year.
Yeah.
This summer? Okay, because I thought they said early 2021. I thought that's what they had said.
They said
back
2021
at the thing. Did they? Okay.
But like,
And
when
now,
you think
are
about
they
it, they're
saying
not going to
summer
do.
now?
If you think about it, they're not going to do 2 raids back to back in like 2 seasons. Like,
Yeah,
they're not gonna
but
have,
I wouldn't think it would be the next season.
Then it
I
would be the
think it
summer
be-
season.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's fair.
So the season in May. Because then we'll have 2 seasons. Because our
I'm
seasons
surprised
are
they haven't-
shifted now.
Even like, well, I guess I don't know. I guess I'm not super surprised. I guess they'll just probably release it with a certain season. They said 2021. I guess I don't have to really give any more details other than that. I would like them to.
It was kind of, at least from my perspective, I was like, oh, if a raid came out in November, the next raid's probably going to be in 2 seasons.
I don't know why. I thought I just remembered hearing something or seeing something that said early, like Q1 or Q2. I don't know why. I just thought I had seen that, but I might have.
Yeah, because then we'll get
Made that up in my
Vault in the summer, and then there'll be like the Vault season, and then the season after, and then we'll get Witch Queen, which makes sense. Meaning we get like 2 raids in a year.
Every time we talk about this game for more than 5 minutes, like if we go into it for longer than 5 minutes, then I'm like, oh fuck, I kind of miss it. I kind of want to play it. The more you talk about it, then I'm like, shit.
The mission, this week's mission was real good. I did it solo first, and I didn't know that there was like a solo triumph. There's a solo flawless triumph, which I might try and get. But it is really, really good. Really, really good. Really fun. Really hard. But yeah, I like, that's the thing, is like I like staying up to date with Destiny and then leaving.
Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, I would too. That sounds great.
It's like next season, I'm gonna be excited for they also talked about like gilded titles. So like certain titles like Flawless, Unbroken, Dredgen, and Conqueror. You're gonna be able to do optional objectives after, and then your purple title will be gold.
What? That's wild.
Yeah, but it'll only be gold for that season.
Oh, that's
So then, and then you'll have to do it again the next season if you wanted to. So it's like that's
like
a
it.
step in the right direction. To
Giving
like
people some more shit to do.
reacquire titles and like re-show off certain things.
Yeah.
And then like next season, I think GMs have the option, or no, they drop adept weapons. So that'll be good to have adept weapon chases in PvE.
I have no idea what the adept weapons in Destiny 2 in 2020.
Well, right now it's just trials stuff. It's just the trials.
Yeah, but like, what are they? You know,
I don't know. I don't
because
really
like
follow
adept
the
was a
trials.
big deal in trials in Destiny 1 because they were elementals that they were primaries that had elementals, and that was like the only other place you get that was in the raid. Whereas now the whole weapon economy is different. So I'm like,
I think it's just
what
better.
is special about adept?
Probably just better stats. That's my guess.
Yeah, maybe
That's the only thing that could
probably
be.
masterworked right off the bat. I guess probably.
Oh no, that wouldn't be adept.
Well, I mean
Masterworking-
that'd be part of it.
Masterworking weapons is child's play.
Yeah, I know, but that would still be part of it. That would be like,
Yeah,
they would.
but, like,
I'm sure they would start like that.
but it's probably just maybe an extra perk. That would be good to have.
I mean, that would be wild. That's a pretty big. That would. I have no idea.
But yeah, I want like a reason to do GMs again, besides the title. That's kind of what I want. I don't know.
Well,
people
maybe
people
they'll give
are.
it to you.
There's always just something going on in the Destiny community where people are just very. Nobody's ever satisfied. And I don't think I don't think people will ever will be.
No, I don't think so either.
Because they always.
I think
compare
Destiny
things
is wildly in a significantly better place than so many other times when people compare it to. And then I'm
Yeah.
like, guys, no.
Except for like Forsaken. Like I will say that Forsaken was
yeah.
huge. And then people are like, "Oh, well, we'll never get another Forsaken." And I'm like, "So?" Like, I don't know. I love Destiny, but I'm also okay with not having where people are like, I want to be addicted to the game. I want to play it nonstop for like 24 hours a day. I want to, and it's like, but maybe that's just not who you are in this moment. That's why you
I think people are blaming the game for that when it's not the
100%.
game's fault. Like
it's
not,
like it's you as a person. Like you as a person
Yeah.
are like, yeah, I don't really feel like playing Destiny all that.
That's weird.
Like, but that's the thing is like people love to blame something else for like, oh, I'm not invested in this game, so it's the game's fault. And it's like, no, it could just be you don't feel like you want to play it, and that's okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's so weird. Because there are definitely times in Destiny where I have been like, this is genuinely a problem. Like, I'm playing it a lot, and this is an issue, and I wish they fixed this, and stuff like that. But, like, there are all, like, I'm not playing it right now, not because it's bad. I think Destiny is still, like, there's a lot of Beyond Light stuff, and, like, that's seasonal. I don't think I've done fucking almost any of the seasonal stuff. But there is a couple of the post-campaign Beyond Light stuff that I hadn't done, and it's not bad stuff. Yeah, I didn't stop because I was like, oh, Beyond Light sucks, it's garbage. I stopped because I just wanted to play other games and then haven't come back to it. At certain points, I'll come back to it and have all that content and be like, this is great. This is a good time. This is what I'm wanting right now. But like, I don't know, I just stepped away and I didn't blame the game. It's clearly not the game's fault. It's still fine.
And that's
still
like
cool shit to do there.
Like with my side, like I've done pretty much everything that I can do in the game, except for like grind for even better weapons where it's like I don't really like I have the weapons I like and that's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
and
that's
especially
like
at
optional.
the end of a season, like I don't really need to do anything else. And so, but I'm not blaming the game because I've played it like crazy, and so I've done everything that I need to do.
It's wild to me. I mean, do you have any ideas probably how many hours you spent like since Beyond Light launched? You know,
I
since
spent like 100 in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
like over 100.
That plus the fact that you are still playing, and there are moments where you come back for Hawkmoon and they add in stuff, and you get like, that's wild to me that people would complain like that you can put in that many amount of hours. You're not paying a subscription fee. Like you're putting in that many amount of hours and like still.
I don't know. Like we were talking about it in the Discord, and they were saying like it's all speculation because there was the tweet from is it Joe Blackburn?
Yeah, the guy who used to be a raid leader left, went to work at Riot Games, came back, and is now a raid leader again.
So in his tweet, he's like, "Oh, the best days of Destiny are ahead," and then that got tossed in the Discord, and then people were throwing him under the bus in the Discord, saying like, "Oh, like I don't know." It's just I just don't understand being a gamer, being on this side of the game, when the dev says the best days of Destiny are ahead of us, and then the gamer being like, I call bullshit, and it's like you don't know anything. We don't know anything.
Why, that's so unhealthy.
That's what I'm saying.
That's such a problem on the person.
And then we went on this whole tirade. Well, not, but like they were talking about like, oh well, the Witch Queen deserves more than Beyond Light, like in terms of content. And it's like, yeah, but we don't know what they're doing for the Witch Queen. And they're like, well, Luke Smith said that they're not going to have a Forsaken level expansion ever again. And I'm like, so
okay,
that's fine, but like it still could, like it still can be great. Like they're still building up. Like they know what they're. It just is. It gets so frustrating when like we're on this side. We think that we know what they should do, but we don't know what they're doing currently and what they have planned.
But also,
so it's like, why not just wait and just temper your expectations and just enjoy what you have. Like enjoy the game as it is.
It's also just very weird to like, in general, like I get that you want Forsaken level stuff, right? But like, they were published by Activision and they had 2 other studios helping them. Like, I don't really necessarily think that's realistic. And I get that that's what you want. And as a gamer, you're supposed to be like, not my problem. Like, you know, that's on their end to figure out. But like, I don't know. Have a little
But it's
bit
like
of
at the
empathy.
same time,
Just fucking look at reality.
Forsaken was a failure to Activision.
Yeah.
And so like they didn't like Forsaken because it didn't live up to their expectations. And then people are like, "Oh, Bungie was better when it was with Activision." And it's like, what do you
But that's not possible. Like you can't
even if it is possible, the thing is Activision would have fucked over the franchise even more because they're like, "Okay, well, if they're still if Bungie and Activision were still together, they would have taken Forsaken and like they would have microtransactioned that to the nines to try and make it more successful in the eyes of Activision. Like, yes, Forsaken was a step in the right direction for the game and for gamers, but like for Activision, they're like, no, we don't like this because it's not making enough money, and that's why they cut ties with Bungie. And so it's like, yes, so we're not gonna have that level, but we still get some pretty damn good content. Like, I don't know, Beyond Light was pretty great. We got the Cosmodrome back, which yes is recycled, but it still looks amazing. And then we got all of Europa, which was like it's a pretty huge area.
Yeah.
And I don't know,
I just biggest.
I guess I just cut them slack. And it's like, you know, when they make it, and I'll be the first to say like sunsetting, they're kind of like messing it up, and I don't really understand. It's like I like the idea of sunsetting, but now they're going about it a weird way where it's like, oh, but now these guns that were sunset, you can get them again. And it's like, I don't like that.
Yeah, but I don't think it's like they didn't intend to do that. They intended to sunset that stuff and for it to be fine. But then when they got feedback that like, you know, that
the
there's not enough,
like,
there's basically not enough in the loot pool. They were like, okay, well, we'll add this kind of stuff back, which then adds another problem of people being like, but I had that and I got rid of it, you know? Like,
even if you don't get rid of it,
ever.
Like I would have liked it where it's like, okay, if it's not sunset, like this has to, with the sunsetting and non-sunsetting or unsunsetting, whatever they're doing, have it so that in your collections you can save one type of role on a weapon. So then say it's like, oh, this gun is now unsunset. Because I think like Fortnite does that, where they like put stuff in the vault and then they take stuff out of the vault.
Yeah, but that's
it is a little bit different
kind
like,
of thing. But yeah, they do
like,
that
so
where
say
they'll
if
take a gun away,
they take
and
it
bring
like
back later.
Say if they take that where it's like, oh, season 14 guns. This is say we're in season 20. Season 14 guns are now unsunset, which means you can get them in the wild again, but you can also pull them from your collections. And like if you had like one roll saved, I don't really know how. Like obviously, I don't know how they would do that, how the data would work with that. But I don't know, like something. I want sunsetting to work. I just don't know how it can work with with how they're like reissuing stuff. But who knows? I'm always
very
happy with
nitpicky.
more Destiny.
That's the thing. It's very like I get that when you're in the community and when you're in that game, when you're in the shit, it's different and you have a very specific view on how much content they're delivering and what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. But like in the end, it's a little nitpicky. Like it just kind of is.
And it's like armchair dev, where it's like, oh, they should be doing this and they should be doing that. It's like, yeah, but you don't know what they're doing behind the scenes. You are literally one person, one gamer, shaking your fist at a game when it's like a company of 100
Yep.
plus people figuring shit out.
And it's like, I don't know, you can have what you want, right? I don't want to like gatekeep people of like, I'm not telling you that you can't want certain things in the game or whatever. I just find sometimes that it's a little like looking from the outside in, like as somebody who has been in that community and been in that shit before and isn't always now, but sometimes is, but isn't like right now I'm not. So I'm not exactly like familiar with all of the complaints and whatnot, but like viewing the complaints when people make them and seeing that, then it's like, I'm looking at what is in there and I'm like, really? This is your complaint? Like, come on, man. Like, as somebody who, you know, back in the day had like 40 spaces in the vault, I'm like, I don't know. The game is in such a place that I used to dream about. And that, like, now people being like, oh, in last year's, we got this many missions, and this time we got this, and only this destination and one that was recycled. It's like, really? Like, that's
I was watching
like, it's
a video.
a good loop. There's a lot of content. There's like the seasonal shit. Like even having a seasonal battle pass, like all this shit is so like insanely better than anything that it ever used to be. Like,
Well, I was watching this video about there's this Final Fantasy 14 streamer and YouTuber, and she was talking about like how can she play Final Fantasy 14 every day and not be bored. And she goes into a whole bunch of points. And there was one point that stood out where it's like the one indicator for all these companies, and I think she specifically said, "Wow," is time played.
Yeah.
And it's like that should not be the indicator of a successful game, successful expansion. Like if you play and you have a great time, that should be the indicator for you. But instead, gamers have attached this like, oh, well, I only played so many hours during this season, so obviously it was a bad season. And it's like, but what if you had a ton of fun that season? And that's it. Like,
yeah.
I played a ton of Destiny. I had a ton of fun, and like my playtime this season will probably be less than other seasons. But it's
yeah,
like
but even then, it's still sometimes a lot of the time when it comes to Destiny and like comparing seasons, it's minimally different. Like this season, I played a good like an extra 50 hours than the other one. It's like, okay, like you still spent 250 versus 300. Like,
but then
like I don't know.
People would say like, oh well, this season sucked because I only played for like this long. It's like, no, but maybe like that's one variable where it's like maybe there are other games. 2, you got all that you wanted. 3, you had fun and you were gonna come back, but like other things came up. Like, but people have it in their mind that it's Bungie's fault for not giving me exactly what I want and not making me play the game 24/7. Bungie should be making me play the game 24/7, and it's like,
as somebody who myself has who like I've grown up in a way that sadly, and I don't like this, and it's definitely a thing that I've been working on throughout like the last couple years, is like I definitely have naturally by default like a kind of sense of entitlement, right? Like I feel like everyone does to a degree, but I definitely do sometimes in a way that I don't like, and I will recognize that, and I definitely try to work on that. But like gamers are so fucking entitled. It's so bad. It's so bad.
And
I hate it.
That's the like I think I'm like the total opposite. Like I don't think I'm entitled to, especially in a game that somebody else makes. It's like, I'm not entitled to anything. It's like,
no.
It's like,
well, that's
like
just real.
It's like
that's more of a philosophical talk.
Like the Last of Us Part 2. There's so many things like especially story. You're not entitled to fuck all.
Yeah.
Unless you're part of the team that's making the story. It's like a movie. It's like a book. It's like music. You are just an audience member. That's it. And it's like, you got like Mass Effect 3, where people hated the ending so much that they changed the ending, and it's like, no, it's that company's story to tell. If you don't like it, that's fine. You can walk away from it and be like, I didn't like that story.
And you can even like make your voice heard and say, hey, I didn't like this for this reason, whatnot. But like, there's a certain level of like vitriol and anger and shit about, and like feeling like you deserve a certain type of thing, which is like, you cannot like it, but you don't deserve it. You didn't earn that. You didn't fucking make it. It's not yours. You know,
gamers, man.
Like,
they need to calm down. They need to play other games.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, that's the thing, is like you are in the thick of this one game and you think like, I should only play this one game, and then I guess like maybe Twitch even has kind of screwed, like has made that issue more amplified, because like if you get a, like, especially with streamers, they play a game, they get huge numbers with this one game.
Yeah.
Soon, this game doesn't have any more content. They're not having fun playing the game. But if they switch playing games, they lose their audience. It's like it's this terrible, vicious, like circle of like, what do you do as a streamer, as a content creator, when you're tied to a game and now you don't have fun playing the game? Like, that's not fair. But it's very, very weird.
I mean, I don't know. That's more of a like fucking philosophical discussion that I've had before, and like a lesson that I've learned. And I feel like from a lot of discussions that I've had with people before, I feel like they disagree. I feel like certain people disagree with this, but like, one of my life views is you're not entitled to literally anything. No one is entitled to anything. And like, and that even goes to like happiness, right? Like, you're not entitled to happiness. If you want to get it, if you want to work towards that, if you like, it's a choice. You have to make the choice to try for that. But like, you're not by default entitled to that. You're not by default entitled to a shitty life. Like, it's not, that's just not how things work. People just make choices. Like, it's the same, like, there's not good or bad people. Morals are subjective. People just make choices. Everybody thinks that they're right in their own story. It's just, you're not entitled to anything. I don't know. I wish more fucking gamers understood that.
I don't know what it is. Like, I don't like, because it's weird that it's like a universal kind of issue. Like, there are obviously the people who are level-headed and that are like, oh,
but they're not the ones talking, you know what I mean?
No, that's
like,
the thing.
Exist,
it's like, maybe it's the vocal minority.
Ones that you hear. Yeah.
We just hear the angry ones, because the other ones are like, oh, Destiny's doing this thing that I don't like. Oh, that's too bad. Okay, I'm going to go play another game, because it's a fucking video game at the end of the day. Like, like, if you're gonna get like bent out of shape because they took your gun away, because they sunset your gun, because they changed your ability times, because it's just like, then you know what, get a life. Like, I'm sorry, just get a life.
Get a life.
Because like, it's a video game.
Got him.
It's a video game. And it's like, it's sad to be, I can understand being like disappointed and voicing your opinion, but when you have like a five thread tweet about, you know, the charge time of this ability or like the recoil of this gun,
and even then, that's like,
do something better with your time.
But even then, like, that's constructive criticism, and like that's helpful if you do that in a good, like, if you give feedback in a good way, a decent way. But instead of just like, shit,
yeah, they're fucking lazy. Oh, what are they doing over there? Oh, it's like, oh my god, like,
gross.
Do something else with your life. Like, I just don't have the patience for people who are not in an industry to critique people in an industry.
Yeah,
I just don't.
Yeah.
Because you're not in that industry. You don't know what is going on. And it's just...
And I get that there is a level of like, you are, as the person consuming the product, you are supposed to critique it. You are supposed to like say what you like and what you don't like. Like, that's okay. Like, you bought the thing, you are supposed to do that. But like, it's just, there's a line that gets crossed where there's a certain level of entitlement and vitriol that's gross, in my humble opinion. I just opened Destiny while we were talking there to take a look and just like see what it told me for the first time logging in like months. And it gave me like 3 notifications of like triple valor, blah blah blah. Here's this quest, Trials of Osiris, and I was like, oh wow. And then it had me go and talk to the crow, and I talked to him, and now I have a quest called As the Crow Flies, which I assume is Hawkmoon. It's yellow for exotic.
That's the first Hawkmoon.
I don't know.
Yes.
Okay. What?
Well, because you didn't get the Hawkmoon, so you didn't. So there's a Hawkmoon quest.
Oh.
And then there's the Harbinger quest, which was what we did on Tuesday.
I don't know. That's not.
So you need I think you need the Hawkmoon first before you can do the Harbinger.
That's all I care about.
No, but like
I don't
Harbinger is for
the hard.
Is for
To
random
get the
rolls.
catalyst. Yeah. I don't really plan on that. That's okay. As long as I have the gun, I'm all right.
Really?
You know? Yeah. I just want the gun.
There's some good.
I'm caught up on almost all my exotics
now,
now, so.
There's some good rolls, and it's repeatable. Yeah. There's some good rolls
cool.
that you could get on Hawkmoon.
Yeah, I also I don't know. I never really, even when Hawkmoon was in its prime, I didn't really use it a ton. So it was my least of the Trinity hand cannons back in the day.
The shitty thing is that it's still a PvP gun.
Yeah.
And PvP is just in the dumpster fire that it is.
Yeah,
and
I have heard about that. That
like,
seems like very valid complaints from everything that I've seen.
Like that's
and
not,
even played.
And I'm not saying that like, oh, the PvP devs are shitting the bed, like whatever. It's like, no, PvP's in a weird spot when they added stasis. And
yeah, probably not even their decision. It was like the fucking people who wanted it, like who designed a class. You know what I mean? Like that's where it was more like, how's this gonna fare in PvP? And they didn't fully give that as much thought, it seems like.
Yeah, but I've never been a PvP-er anyways, so it's not like a huge thing.
I come and go. But yeah, I haven't really. What else have I played in the last couple of weeks? I'm on season 3 of Hell's Kitchen. I'm almost at the end of the finale. It's so good. One of the dudes I predicted did make it to the end. I predicted at the beginning. Now it's to the point where I've watched like 2 or 3 seasons where I'm like, at the beginning, I'm like predicting. I'm like, oh, they're going to make it. They're going to, like, because you can tell.
Well, and it's camera time too.
Yeah, that too. You also, that's like, dude, when I first started watching The Amazing Race too, at one point I found the fucking subreddit and I was watching people like discuss it after the episodes. And these are people who've been watching the fucking show for like 20 years. So these are people that are like talking about the editing and they're like, so they focus on this person, which usually means when they do that, this person's going to be the one to make. I was like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah.
It was crazy. But
I always do that whenever I'm watching those shows. It's like, oh, they're really focusing on this person. But then it's like you can either tell, okay, well, they're either going to be voted off or they're going to get like first place this week. And it's usually one of those 2 things because if a person's going out, they kind of give them a little bit more screen time just to be like, okay, well, this is their last episode. So
far, I feel like they've done a relatively good job about that. Like it's relatively equal, but like at the beginning, it's not hard to, I will say from season 1, 2, and 3, season 1 easily had the best cooks. Like season 1 had a lot of pretty solid dudes. And season 2, I'm like, oh my God, they're all terrible. Why'd they get all terrible people?
Because it's better TV.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, maybe they're experimenting with like throwing in 100%. Worse people. And then season 3 was a little better where they had a couple more that were more experienced, but still not as good as season 1. But at the beginning of season 3, I was like, this guy's gonna make it, this girl. I predicted a guy and a girl. The guy is in the finals. I'm watching the finale like right now is where it's the final 2. And then the girl did not, just was doing great. And then randomly at one point just started to implode. Just imploded on herself of like, I guess, I don't know. I feel like she felt like she had to be a leader and she definitely was not. And she ended up just bossing people around and it was interesting. But it's like, it's so good. I was trying to describe it to Eric, my friend Eric earlier this week where I was like, it's trash, but like, it's just scientifically engineered entertainment. You know what I mean? Like, they know exactly what they're doing. But I will say, it is quite satisfying as somebody who's watching them kind of back to back, because they'll like bring in previous winners for like a challenge or a taste test or something. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And I think even though it is kind of a formula, it's definitely a formula, but there are a lot of like surprises and cool shit that is very different than what they normally do. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like they do mix it up. It's cool. It's good. Gordon Ramsay is an interesting fucking dude. There was one dude he threw out in season 3 that literally like, I think he's done this once maybe before this, but in the middle of the dinner service, he was like, get the fuck out. Leave your jacket. Get the fuck out of here. And the dude like started walking out, and then he followed him out into the hallway and was like, give me your fucking jacket, you useless piece of shit. I think he said you useless shit sack or something like that.
Oh, Ramsay.
It was great. But I watched that, and then also Attack on Titan. Fucking hype. We got there,
okay.
boys. We got there. That's all.
So I started like a brand new show. Brand new to me. I guess it has like 5 or 6 seasons. Now I'm in the middle of season 2, and I'm loving this show. The Expanse.
That's what I've heard about it. I've heard a lot about it. I was thinking about starting it. It's on Amazon, right? Because I saw
it's an Amazon
I've heard
like
a lot of people talk about
made show.
Yeah, now I'm watching because Hulu, for some weird reason, had Hell's Kitchen season 1 and then 11 through 19. And I was like, huh. And then I went to find, I don't know, I went to find it, like season 2 somewhere else. And it's on Prime. Like, I think Prime literally has all of them. I don't know. But I know that it has, actually, it has 1 through 18. So I went and I've been watching season 2 and 3 on Amazon. And I saw The Expanse right there, too. And I was like, maybe.
It's
I
really
hear
good.
Things.
What is
it? Like sci-fi?
10 episodes, I think, a season. Yeah, 10 episodes a season. It's very sci-fi. I don't know when it's like set time-wise, but like
season 1 through 5.
Yeah, so there's people live on Mars, and I think a place called the Belt, and
is Matt Damon there living on Mars?
Sorry, what was that?
Hello, Franklin. I said, is Matt Damon there?
No, he's not. They haven't called. Well, like,
what a bummer.
Mars and Earth are always at odds. It's almost like America and like any other country.
Huh.
It's just like, so Mars, like the Martians don't like Earth.
Cool.
Like the Earthers. And then there's people called Belters.
How like long is it in the future? Like how long have they been living on Mars?
I don't know. Like there was a flashback about a guy who pretty much, he was the one who invented like their hyper drives or their really fast drives. And it said like 137 years ago.
So they've at least been up there for maybe a couple of generations.
Yeah.
2 or 3. Interesting.
It's really good. It makes me think of the 100 because like the Belters. Yeah. The Belters have like their own accent and language. So it almost makes me think that they've been out there a little bit longer. Because I think like there's a bunch of different like stations as well that are like out there. But yeah, it's a really, really good show. Without like saying too much, it is really Mass Effect-y, especially about like the main characters. Cool. And then like the main lady on Earth is I forget her name in Destiny, but she was the robot future war cult leader.
Oh,
forget that name.
Shit. Yeah. It's like
because there's like a Rock Jalal.
Yeah, it's with like an R, right? It's like
that was.
It's like here. Let's see.
Oh my God, this cat.
What's he doing?
He's just right in front of my 2 monitors, but like there's no room for him because he's a very big cat.
Is it Lakshmi?
Yeah, Lakshmi.
Yeah, there we go. That's cool. That's neat.
Yeah.
Lance Reddick.
So yeah, I'm definitely watching that. Haven't really watched anything else except for like WandaVision. I really wish that they would put out 2 episodes a week, seeing as they're only a half an hour.
Yeah, and this last
episode
one
was
had
good.
like 7 minutes of credits where I saw the bar and was like, oh, we got a good bit left. And then when it did end, I was like, what the fuck? That's it? And then I looked and I was like, yeah, no, it's 7 minutes of credits. All right.
It was
But
good.
we should save that to be sure that is the last thing we talk about as in spoilers for WandaVision. We should like save that for the end.
I
of the
mean, people
episode.
like you had the
I'm
whole
just saying.
weekend to watch a half an hour little
Just
show.
saying. I almost didn't watch it. Just saying. I only watched it last night, actually.
I watch those things now
literally
that
last
it's
night.
like midnight. I have to consume it
Here's-
as fast as possible.
Here's my thing with WandaVision that I think I'm realizing now as someone who has been watching it. Like, and as somebody who was podcasting and whatnot throughout watching like Mandalorian, right? Mandalorian for me was a little bit more to talk about because there were always like an interesting, cool, unique like moment or something. There's always like something to talk about there, and like you could guess. And as somebody who used to print out full Wikipedia pages of Star Wars characters and put them in a notebook and read them, right? I do have like an established thing with Star Wars, right? Whereas I enjoy the MCU, I like the MCU. I'm not like a giant Marvel person, so I don't have all this Marvel background. So like, I know some people are like, oh, we can make theories and do all that. And that's like I was listening to some show and they were talking about how WandaVision is perfect for like talking to your friends, like, oh, what do you think's gonna happen? And for me, I'm like, no, not for me. Like for me personally, as somebody who doesn't have enough, I don't have enough knowledge to do that. For WandaVision, for me, I am sitting back and just being like, show me your thing. I don't got any guesses.
Even like you don't need to have knowledge of like stuff before. It's like just knowledge about like the MCU and how they could do things
not
and
helping me at least.
who could they
just a
introduce
dum-dum.
or like what could even just be, I guess, the premise. I don't know. I think with me, Star Wars has really taken a really big hit, and I don't really feel like there's that big desire to know things, because it's like nothing like matters because of like nothing
yeah, but like
matters.
people
It's like not
still were
connected.
into Mandalorian though. Like people were still into that. People wanted to know what was going on. Like I cared
but the
more
thing with
about like, oh
Mandalorian-
shit, Ahsoka episode coming out. What's gonna happen? Instead of like WandaVision genuinely is cool and I like the suspense and whatnot, but I just don't have as much of a connection, or like maybe I'm just stupid with MCU stuff, but like I don't have really very many theories. I'm just like, show me your thing. Like I don't, for me, for some weird reason, it's not producing the like, oh shit, I bet this is the thing and they're gonna do this and this. I'm just
But
like,
that's the thing with
show it to me.
with
I'm cool.
Mandalorian. It's just episode is each episode. Like, because they don't have, like, they never really had something where it was like, this is going to mean something in this, like, context, and this is going to connect. Like, Star Wars is terrible.
They did, but it was
terrible
minor.
at connecting things.
Yeah, but like just for
And
that
so that's
whole
why-
season, there were definitely moments where something happened that made me be like, oh, I bet this is going to be the thing that happens in the future. You know what I mean? Whereas with WandaVision,
But
I'm like, I bet.
You know, with MCU, it's like, okay, this show isn't just a show to be like, hey, it's a funny sitcom with Wanda and
Yeah.
Vision, ha ha ha. No, you know that this show is purposefully like
I
it's
know
doing
that they're gonna
everything
do
purposefully,
something.
and it's like
Yeah.
like, and so when like certain things happen in this episode, you're just like, okay, well, I wonder if this person is actually like this, and how it can
See,
connect
I
to-
don't have
that's
any
the thing.
of
Is
that.
like we're all adding up to like now how everything's going. How is it going to connect to Doctor Strange and the multiverse of madness? How is it going to connect to like now
No
that,
clue.
like,
That's the thing. Maybe I'm
Nobody-
just
but
dumb with
nobody has a
MCU.
clue.
Yeah, but I
This
don't
is-
even have any sort of like theories or anything. Like I don't have anything to talk about, which I feel like that I've heard people say that WandaVision is doing a good job of like giving you a way to theorize and like talk about what could possibly happen. And for me, I'm just like, I don't know. Fucking just show me your thing. It's gonna be great. Like I'm in for it. I'm enjoying WandaVision, but it's definitely like I got nothing with theories.
Oh, I've got
I'm
so
just
much
letting it
stuff.
feed. Just show me your thing. I'll enjoy it probably,
It's just so good.
I don't know.
Like,
I am liking it. I definitely am not liking it as much as everybody else. Like I'm liking it, and I liked that episode specifically. The fucking ending to the last episode, I was like, oh, let's go. But like the
first 3 episodes.
I'm not stopping everything to watch it. Like I'm just
The first 3 episodes have more like story progression than like half a season of Mandalorian.
Yeah. Remember the Mandalorian episode where they are taking the little frog dude to the little frog woman, and
then they
stuck
get caught
with
in
the
like an
spiders?
ice planet, and then they're just
Yep,
on the
they
ice planet for the whole
Then they're
episode.
fighting
It's like,
spiders, and then I remember like listening to somebody's reaction about that, and they were talking about it. And they
I
were like,
hated
I
that
think this is
episode.
one of the best episodes, and I was like, excuse you? What do you mean? Like, I didn't personally hate it because I've accepted that The Mandalorian was very much just side quests with some stuff tying in, right? But it's so weird because it kind of wasn't that. It was, but it wasn't
an
because they
inconvenience.
did have
it wasn't
an
like a side
overarching-
quest. It was like, it was.
Yeah,
it was
that
like,
one didn't even connect. Like there
It was
are
like the
certain
battles,
moments, like
the battles when trying to complete the side quest, or like the destination, like you're just traveling to complete the side quest.
which I don't know. I actually did kind of like that it was very the whole show in general, especially season 2, was very side questy with things tying in later. Oh my god, look at Frank. That's amazing. That's so good.
Sitting right there.
Everybody open the video version and look at Tyson's feed. That's amazing. But like there was the episodes were side quests of like, here are these characters, or like, like when Mando got like the spear, right? And you're like, he's gonna use that to fight Moff in the end with the dark saber, right? Like they're going through different things and collecting different items and people that do connect in the end. But it's very like it's weird because it felt a lot of the times like they really don't have a super clear overarching story, and they are just kind of doing some side adventures. But then in the end, it's like, no, I mean, they did. So it's like, why did we spend that much time on nothing on certain moments? It's interesting.
Could have, like,
it's like they were trying to balance
parts
between
of the story instead of having an episode of like him and a frog lady. It's like it just
they were
wasn't
trying
really
to like
necessary.
do 2 different things. It was odd in the end.
Also, I just don't like how it
did
had to
enjoy it.
connect towards the Skywalkers, because then you ask like these weird questions of like, okay, well, if now this is spoilers for the end of the Mandalorian, but you've had a couple of weeks, people.
Been ended in December for sure. I don't know.
Yeah.
When in December, but.
That like, so Grogu goes off with Luke, and it's like young Luke, so that means that he's still
Dies. He gets fucking slaughtered by Kylo.
Yeah, like what? Is that what that means? Like,
I think so. That's what I think about. Like when that happened, I was like, so he's
together.
part of the Jedi Temple that gets fucking slaughtered, right? Like,
So, like
Grogu's
Grogu
dead.
was Grogu and Kylo just like hanging out for a couple years,
They're
and then
buds, best friends.
See,
Like,
that's-
that's one thing that I loved getting tossed around, where somebody's like, Grogu's the knight of Ren.
he's a tiny one.
Yeah, he's just a tiny little dude with the hood.
But
Black
that's the
robe
thing
now.
is like, I just don't like things when they try to connect back to the Skywalkers, because the
I mean,
Skywalkers have
in
been
that-
so like, when you think about what is it, Fallen Order, it was like that was a great story.
Yeah.
Like gameplay wise, it
really-
was all right, but like story wise, it was great because it didn't have to connect to any
Yeah.
bad guy, any bad.
mean-
well, I guess Vader was in.
That's genuinely why I think the Old Republic can have really good stories, and why people like KOTOR and stuff like that, because it is just Star Wars, but like not connected to that shit, but it's still very much Star Wars. Like but they did it to where it's like thousands of years beforehand. This is its own era, and there are different parts of this era and whatnot that is distinctive, but it's still fucking Star Wars, I like that stuff. I've the High Republic stuff has started to come out in like the books and the comics and whatnot.
Yeah, I
I
was
know that
thinking
people
about
are
that.
reading that. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm in a weird place with Star Wars because like the Mandalorian, kind of got me back excited.
It was
But
fun. I liked it.
but, like,
it was fun.
I want Marvel levels of intertwining. And I know that takes time.
It's like so late for that though. You know what I mean? Like to do that, they needed to do that with the, well, no, like to do that right. They should have done that. They should have had a Kevin Feige on the sequel trilogy, and they very clearly did not.
There's no sequel trilogy. It's just the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy.
It doesn't,
There's 6 movies.
Exist. You're right. But like, I don't know. I will say, to talk about the Mandalorian, where like you don't like that it ties into the Luke stuff. Like I get that, and I liked that it was Luke, but I also in the end I was like, honestly, if fucking like Ezra shows up, cool. Like, if it's a fucking Jedi, because that would fit in with the canon. Like, there are different Jedi that you could have done that with. You could have had the fucking voice actor who plays Cal Kestis show up. Like, I'm pretty sure time-wise you could have, I think, in the timeline.
But the thing is, like...
You could have done cool shit like that.
They could have done that,
down with it.
But I want reasons. I don't want it just to be like, oh, hey, here's this character. Because now that they use Luke, it's like, you're not going to have a season of, like... Grogu and Skywalker.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like, if you did something that tied in more with like the games or the comics or some ancillary like stuff that's not normally in canon, like it is in canon, but it's not like, you know, as mainstream, like Ahsoka, right? You can then tie that in, whereas Ahsoka is having her own show. Like if that was Ezra or Cal or something else, you could have then done something more with that in the future. Katarn. God, isn't he like fuck? What is he?
Jedi,
He's someone's
outcast. That was the best Star Wars game in a long time. Because at first it was a first-person shooter.
That's not who I thought it was.
And then you re-become a Jedi, and then you get
Kyle Katarn was a Force-sensitive human male who worked as a mercenary and operative for the Rebel Alliance and became known as a thorn in the Galactic Empire's side. Eventually, Katarn went on to become a Jedi. Katarn used a green lightsaber and a K-16 Briar pistol. That is cool that, like, it started with
amazing story, and you don't have to be like, oh, and you know where he got his shoes from? Leia. And it's just like,
oh, look, there's Leia.
Like, nobody... Just let them like they're dead. Let them rest in peace.
Mandalorian's fan service. That's one thing that I had to accept at a certain point. It's just
but see, Ahsoka is, but also you can have like another story.
But they're
like,
still
it's
doing
a good.
Things with
there's gonna be an arc where it's her
Yeah.
going after Thrawn, and it's like that's cool. Like that's a perfect. That's a good. Like and it has nothing to do with the Skywalkers. Like I just don't. I don't want any more Skywalker stuff.
Yeah. There was a time in my life where I genuinely did care and love Star Wars so much that I tried to know as much as I could about it. I thought it was like flawless, you know? And at this point, I'm like, it just, you know, I like Star Wars and I just have to accept that. And I just got to choose and enjoy the Star Wars that I do like and then just go from there. I like it as, what I have to accept is that I like it as a universe, I like it as a concept, I like certain things about it, and then I just have to find those things in the media that I enjoy. Like Star Wars The Old Republic's got a cool story, you be a dude with a lightsaber, it's got a cool era, sure, if I want a little bit of a Star Wars fix, I'll load that up, you know? Like, and I need to not be like for a while I was so mad at Rise of Skywalker, I was like, fuck Star Wars. But like, now I'm just like, you know, I do still enjoy Star Wars and I do like that shit. And there can be cool shit there. I just gotta like pick and choose that, you know. I do eventually want to get back to Rebels at one point.
It's like I only watched the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy. I wish they made a sequel trilogy.
It's true, you know.
But
I wish they made him off of those books, you know.
Maybe Rian Johnson, you know, I heard he's
remember when Luke got married?
Yeah, Mara Jade. They had a kid.
Jade,
Ben.
Yeah.
No. Yes.
They had multiple kids, I'm pretty sure. And I know that Han
they
Solo
only have one.
Did they?
Han and Leia have 3.
Yep.
One dies with Chewie.
Right. Yep. I remember Chewbacca died. Yeah.
And then two,
I didn't read all those books,
twins.
but I read some of them. Yeah.
Then they have twins, and one goes to the dark side, and then the daughter has to kill.
Didn't they? Wasn't he like? Oh fuck! What was his name? The evil
Jason.
one. Yeah. Okay.
Jason and Jaina, just
Yep.
like Luke and Leia. It was oh man,
Whoa.
fuck! Like why did they just do that? Nobody read not nobody, but I mean like the major population of people who enjoy Star Wars didn't read those books.
A good amount of people did and enjoyed them though, so it's like there you go.
Yeah,
do that.
Just adapt the books to the 3 movies, and then
I didn't want to do that.
no, they're just like here's 3 people, here's 3 new characters that like we don't care enough about to make a good story, but we're gonna base everything around the old 3, but then we're gonna kill one off each movie. Why? Like why?
I mean, I didn't mind that. That's the least of my problems with those movies.
It's just that like you were expecting it when they like.
Well, especially after the first one, I was like, in Last Jedi, I was like, I bet Luke's probably gonna die at the end of this one, right? And then when he did, I was like, even before Carrie Fisher passed,
then Leia's gonna die.
I was like, then Leia's in the last one. Like that's how they're gonna do this. Okay. I genuinely, I will still say, I really did enjoy Force Awakens the way that they did that with Han Solo. I thought it was good.
I didn't.
But they fucking didn't go anywhere with it.
No.
Like they set it up and then they didn't go anywhere with it. You know what I mean? That was part of Kylo's arc, and there
was a theory though
commit to it
that that Han killed himself.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's like a line when they're talking and he's like, I can't, and like Kylo's like, I can't. And then I forget, Han says something about like, because it was about Snoke sort of like, man. It had the opportunity to be really cool.
Well, I mean, Han very clearly went out there knowing that it was a possibility, but he had to try. Like, I don't know. I really did like that scene as a whole. Like, if you go back and watch that scene, it's very well done.
Huh.
Like, the acting on both ends is super good. Like, that scene is awesome. Like, Chewbacca, when it happens, like, gets fucking just screams and shoots Kylo. Like, it's like that bit is very good. And like Han Solo, Harrison Ford did great. But like there are good fucking moments. As somebody who likes The Last Jedi, there are good fucking moments in that trilogy. But as a whole, it's not a trilogy because they didn't fucking plan it.
Well, it's like even like you could do the same thing about like Batman v Superman. There were cool moments in that movie, but together the movie is terrible. But there were cool moments when like Aquaman, Batman beat up all those guys in that room and he was in the corner just like hidden. That was cool. Rest of the movie was terrible.
Remember when he just pulls out a fucking machine gun from his
car? When he's like dragging the car with the Batmobile and the car's just like, and there's a dude in the car. And I'm like, that dude's dead.
I've told this story many times, but like I'll tell it very quickly again. When I'm watching that movie and they're in that car chase and he like runs another car off the road or something and it crashes, but it doesn't necessarily explode. I'm like, did he just kill them? And then he does it again, but like the car fucking explodes. And I was like, they're dead. And then he fucking pulls out a machine gun that's literally built into the Batmobile and just starts gunning people down. And I'm like, what's going on here? It's a movie. Remember when Aquaman came up to that security camera somehow that was underwater and just stood there with the trident and his hair flowing for like 10 seconds?
I don't. I have put that I put that behind me. Did you see that like the Justice League's gonna be a 4-hour movie?
I did.
And I'm like, man, you guys just love to waste money.
And
like
people
I love how we like started this episode talking about like Destiny fans being all mad at Bungie, and then
but like I don't know, even this we're not mad and we're not spewing vitriol or anger.
No, but that's a
people.
Waste of money. I'm sorry, but you had a movie come out, it did poorly, so instead of moving on from that. Instead of being like, okay, well, let's try and make future movies better. Mm-hmm. They're like, no, we're gonna give this director a 4-hour movie to keep telling and see, and maybe it'll be good in 4 hours.
They're gonna make money from it, man. They're gonna make a good bit of money from that.
I don't know. No, because it's gonna go straight to digital.
Yeah, but people want that Snyder cut, dog. You know.
No, but I mean,
Well,
like,
don't
they're not
know
gonna
why.
make. They're not gonna make
They do.
theater. Like,
No, they're not
amounts,
gonna
'cause
make
it's
box
all-
office money, but they're gonna get more HBO Max subscribers for it.
I doubt it because it'll be too easy to pirate.
Maybe. But
Like,
I don't think, I mean, pirating is not as, like, it is a problem and it is pretty big, but I don't think it's, like, as big to be able to, like, cause a huge dent in that. They are definitely still going to make some money, for sure. Like,
I don't know. Did Wonder Woman?
It's such a weird thing. What?
Did Wonder Woman?
I think so. Wonder Woman got a good amount of, like, subscribers. Like, I remember even just when they, like, announced that it was coming to HBO Max, it got, like, a really big boost. Shout out to Wonder Woman 1984, by the way. Just
No, you mean
we've
like,
talked about them
shut
before,
down Wonder Woman 1984.
Exactly. What a movie, dude. Like, I went into that with low expectations, and
I went into that
we're
with Wonder
still
Woman
exceeded.
expectations, which the first one was good.
I liked the first one, and then the second one happened, or should we say didn't?
No, it did because you know what I want.
You're like, no, we're
I
accepting
want
this
DC to keep making movies, but I want them to be worse. I want to see how
Why?
bad it can get.
Here's the thing. Here's
the thing
here's
is,
what I
like-
want to know. I'm curious about your opinions on Suicide Squad.
The first one.
Yeah, the first one, the one that exists.
I haven't watched it in a while, but like,
Because everyone compares it. Like, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they hold that up as like the most extreme, worst DC EU movie.
no.
And like, I remember going and watching Batman v Superman after, like, I watched Batman v Superman, came out of theater, and was like, ah, this is great. And then, like, literally over the next 2 hours was like, but they did. And then this. And then, and then slowly I was like, wait, that was not a good movie. But then then like a month or so later saw like Civil War. And I was like, oh, look at this. That's literally what they were trying to do, but better. And it actually worked. Look at that. And then Suicide Squad came out, what, a year later or something like that? But I remember going and seeing Suicide Squad and was like, hey, at least this had a plot. Like, they literally went from point A to point B. Like, they did a thing. By the end of the movie, they went from here to there. Whereas Batman v Superman didn't really. They just did things every now. Like, there was no real kind of plot to that movie.
My biggest critique, I think, of Suicide Squad was I wish that they did a villain that wasn't like a world-ending threat.
Oh yeah.
Like, I wish it was just like
classic.
because there was the Suicide Squad movie, animated movie, where it was like they're breaking into prison or breaking out of prison or something. That was really, really good.
There's a lot of DC.
And that's what I wanted, like the live action one to be. Is like it's not a world ending villain, but it's something that's in between where it's like we're not going to call Superman and Batman to fix this, but we don't want to bring in our own guys. So here's an expendable group. Shout out to the movies Expendable. But we have this mission
seen that one.
that like we don't really care if the people that we send in are gonna live or die. So that's who we're gonna send in, and that's what I wanted it to be. But it at the end, it's like, oh, this could destroy the world, and it's like, well, then why don't you just call Superman? Like,
It's stupid.
that's
That
like with
movie
the
had
Defenders.
a lot of problems.
The Defenders, it wasn't a huge issue. It sort of was, but it wasn't like super big,
to
and that's
remember.
why the Defenders were the ones that like fixed that problem instead of the Avengers.
Yeah. It's
also, I didn't
interesting.
mind
That movie had a
Joker.
lot of problems.
I
that
I
movie?
was fine. I was fine with it because I was
Yeah,
like, you know
me
what?
too.
It's a different take on him, and I like that it was like wildly different. I like that you couldn't really put any comparisons towards Heath Ledger,
Yeah.
and that's the same with
I
Joaquin
did not
Phoenix.
hate Jared Leto's Joker.
You can't have comparisons, and I loved that about this one character that three people can play completely different.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
I did not hate Jared Leto's Joker, and I definitely did not blame the parts that I didn't like on him because it wasn't his fault. Like
there were
I
parts
thought that
where
was interesting. Everybody was like, "Oh, Jared Leto sucked."
He had a couple of lines, and I was like, "Damn!" Like he was like scary, and and I would have loved to see him go up against maybe not Ben Affleck, but like a different Batman.
See, I liked Ben. Again. Ben Affleck was definitely not the problem of that Batman. It was the fucking writing. Like I thought he, as an actor, did a great job with that, and even like his presence, I thought was really good. But like, he just fucking murdered people.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's interesting. I don't know. I just heard that the other day where somebody mentioned like Wonder Woman being. They were like, oh, it was bad, but it wasn't Suicide Squad bad. And in my head, I was like, really? Because like, Wonder Woman was pretty bad.
1984 was really bad.
Yeah. So
again,
I did not.
People who like Kristen Wiig, Pedro Pascal, amazing jobs.
Wasted that cast.
They both acted great. Like I loved both of their characters.
Honestly,
I did not like Chris Pine. Also, I just don't
he
like.
Did fine, but
like why? Like why is he back? And why did he have to go into a body of a random dude?
That
like, why?
I know we've talked about this already. We talked about this on our Christmas episode after Christmas. We talked about that in Soul, but I guess now we got to dig deeper into Wonder Woman. Apparently, I do need to go pretty soon, but we should talk about WandaVision spoilers. But I do agree. I talked to somebody about that with the whole like body switching thing. Extremely problematic. There for no reason whatsoever. Just
you
terrible.
Really could have just had Chris Pine back.
Yup. Like I love how I was listening to Kind of Funny's like DCEU in review, I guess, where they did the Wonder Woman 1984 and they went through the plot and they started talking about that whole bit. And Greg at one point started to be like, oh, they could have done this, and he was like trying to think of like workarounds of like you could have had him take over somebody but not be in an apartment or what. And then I think Nick or somebody and me before they even said it, I was like, or he could have just been there. Like it's already a fucking magic stone. It's a magic stone. Why did he have to take over somebody's body? Like it was weird. The weirdest.
And then why did the guy have to come back and be like, oh, like a line at the end? And I'm like, why do you even need a line at the end? Like it's not even a funny line. It's just weird.
Yup. Like Greg said that he thought they shot that as like a reshoot of like, hey, we're airing this around Christmas. We gotta end the Christmas where they're all looking at the snow. And I was like, honestly, I could see that because they're just standing out there looking at a balloon.
And it's just so weird because like the first one was like fairly good. I'm trying to remember all the points. The first one, it was good. This one, yeah, it's just very weird.
And it, like, okay, so I went in with low expectations, like I was saying, but like they were exceeded with how bad it was because like. Yeah. I expected the writing to be bad and shit, but like the CGI was bad. It was like Arrow level CGI at some points. I'm like, what are you doing?
It's
like,
weird. I don't.
It's a blockbuster. It was odd.
There was one moment. That's the thing. Is like the way that they do Wonder Woman CGI is intended to be very different than like other CGI. It looks like when she's like flying, it looks like they just like take her, cut out a PNG, and then drag that. That's what it looks like. And then they just like they blur all the stuff around. And I'm like,
I didn't think it was that bad, but it's pretty bad.
I don't understand it. And
there were a couple of shots, like there's one where like the truck scene or whatever, where they have a whole fight on like trucks, Uncharted 3, But she like at the end swings down, which I don't know where that. No, she grabbed the missile. That's what it was. Yeah, she grabbed the missile with the rope. But she swings over to collect the kids, and she takes her left arm, and scoops up 2 kids, and like her arm like fucking Mr. Fantastic stretches to pick them up, and then like when they're landing on the ground, and it's not like they try and hide it. They're like, clearly here is this shot, and then like there's a good 10-second shot of the kids and her like landing, and the kids are like very clearly CG. It's so weird, like their faces are like fucked up. It's so, and I'm like, why did you do this?
It's very weird. But then
it was odd.
And then on the flip side, you have like Cheetah at the end when she goes through like the big transformation, and I thought that looked actually really good. Like,
yeah,
I don't know if that was that full CGI or it was probably some makeup too.
I think it was probably
a little bit of both. I don't know. I liked how that looked.
But also, why'd she have to be a cheetah?
Well, because Cheetah is
I know, but like
DC
in
villain.
the whole thing with the story, like with how that worked, she did
Also,
not
I really
have to
don't-
physically be a cat.
I
Made
really
no
don't
sense, to
like,
be honest.
and I think this is just my take on like villains. I don't like when villains get redeemed. I
It
think
depends.
it's just because
Very
then
much
it's just
depends.
it's just like, oh, Cheetah and Pedro Pascal are both like redeemed. Oh, Kylo Ren
mean,
redeemed, and it's like, no,
to be
I
fair-
want a villain that is intimidating, that is.
I mean, Darth Vader
that
at
has
the end.
who?
Darth Vader at the end. He gets redeemed.
Yeah, but he
Right at the
dies
end.
right after.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
But-
That's literally redemption arcs with villains most of the time. If right at the end, they have to die. If they have murdered, that's like some, I read that somewhere. It's like some writing term for that, where like if you are trying to redeem a villain who has murdered a shit ton of people, they kind of have to die or they have to sacrifice themselves or something like that, because otherwise they're not going to be like if Kylo had lived, yeah, good job, buddy, let's join the rebellion. Like they wouldn't just welcome him, you know. It just breaks a lot of weird.
I guess with
writing
him it
rules.
was just too predictable, and I just
Or-
didn't want him to be redeemed.
Yeah. Well,
Like
here's
I like
dude-
a villain
oh
that's
my
a
God.
villain. Like I like Thanos. Like Thanos was one of my favorite villains because like he's just a villain, and in his mind, again, he
Yeah.
is the protagonist.
mean-
Same with Magneto. Magneto is a great villain because he's doing everything for the safety of mutants, even if
Yeah.
that means killing humans. But he is a villain, but he's a great villain.
Yeah. I mean, Kylo's arc had a lot of problems in general because, like, you know, like we were talking about the fucking Harrison Ford thing. They set that up in the whole movie. Like, Snoke and him set that up as, like, if you do this, you nailed it. You're here, you're on the dark side, you fucking committed. And he did it. And then he was still conflicted. I'm like, well, what the... That... Like, I don't know. It
And in
was
the
very
second
odd.
episode,
Like, they
or
didn't
in the
commit
second
to
movie,
it.
he almost kills his mom, and then like he shoots down the TIE fighter that like shot his mom.
It's just like super fucking inconsistent of like a
Yeah.
redemption arc. Like they could have gone one way or the other, but they just didn't. And like you can do that. Like I get that a person can be conflicted and they can show that off well, but it didn't fucking make sense. And like, okay, I mean, oh God, I hate this because I don't want to spoil it because I have hopes that you're going to watch this one day, but I should just give up those hopes. I should just give them up because you're not going to fucking watch it. But literally the best character or villain redemption arc that I've ever seen is Zuko in Avatar: The Last Airbender. Spoilers.
I already know that he becomes good.
Yeah, spoilers
that.
at the end. He becomes a fucking good guy. But like that arc is not. It's not Kylo. That's for sure. It's not like a villain becoming a good guy. It's not that. Like the arc is literally a character. Like by the end, that's genuinely I think my favorite character arc, story arc of all time. Like the way that they do that of him, like it's not just that by the end he decides and he's like, all right, now I'm a good guy. Like he goes through turmoil and like there's a whole episode where he makes a choice that kind of helps the team out and like his body gets sick and like he has a fever and he like it's like a very anxiety kind of thing because it was so like in conflict with him. And there's a moment where like he makes the choice like he had to make the choice himself. There's one moment actually, yeah, this is really important to the arc. There's one moment in season 2 at the end of the season 2 finale where he has the choice basically either to help them or to fucking join Azula, his sister, and like try and capture him again to regain his honor, which has been the whole thing. And in the end, he does choose that. He basically comes back home a hero where everybody thinks that he like killed the Avatar, and like he comes back home with everything he's ever wanted. Like the arc is so fucking good because at the beginning his goal is to capture Aang and like restore his honor and get back to like being at the right hand of his dad, right? Being the prince of the Fire Nation. And basically he does that. And he comes back, and after that many years on the road and like learning all that shit that he did, when he comes back and he got basically everything that he wanted, he's like, this is not like
Everything
this
that I
is
want.
not fulfilling. This is not what I want. This is clearly like after seeing like you can see everything that he's learned. Like there's a whole episode called Zuko Alone where he goes to like like an Earth Kingdom village, and like he ends up bonding with this kid and this whole thing, and then at the end he kind of has to like it's like going through flashbacks the whole time too of like him as a kid and with his mom, and then at the end like there's a bit where his mom's like, never forget who you are, and he's like, the guy, like he beats this guy in a fight, and the guy's like, who are you? And he's like, I'm Zuko, prince of the Fire Nation, heir to the throne. Goes through this whole thing super proud, right? Like, which is like awesome. You fucking like, I get the point. And then the kid's like, I hate you, you know, go away. And it's like, it's so perfect because by the end he is absolutely does stay true to who he is, but like takes everything that he learned on the road of like when he goes to do the speech with his dad, because he confronts the Fire Lord and like explains all of it to him, and is like, oh God, I'm gonna wrap this up soon because I'm rambling about how great this is. But he goes there during an eclipse where the Fire Lord doesn't have his bending, but Zuko, who has been like outcast, the whole point of his character is that his sister Azula is a prodigy, and he is like, he's had to work for everything. Like, it doesn't come naturally to him, but he has to work hard at that shit. So like he learned like sword fighting too, even though just in case he needed that instead of like bending. So he was there like holding his dad hostage, and like his dad was like, oh, come to see me on an eclipse, I see how brave you are. And it's a whole thing where he's like, you're gonna sit here and listen, like I have you here. And he goes through the whole thing of like, the people of the world hate us. Like, we're taught growing up that the Fire Nation is like the strongest, like we're sharing our wealth with the world, but they don't see it that way. We rule with fear. Like, I have to put an end to this, and I'm gonna go and join Aang and his team, right? And then he goes off and does it, but they don't accept him right away. Like, it all actually makes sense because obviously he's been hunting them the whole time. They're like, why the fuck would we trust you? And then like it absolutely makes sense to where they do trust him, but they don't trust immediately. Like each character has to like kind of gain trust with him, and like he has to prove that he is kind of a different person, but he's still himself. He still has his personality. It's amazing. Zuko's arc is incredible. It's the one thing of like a villain turning into a good guy, but like it's not that. Like he sees everything and makes his choice. You know what I mean?
Jaime Lannister.
Yeah. Jaime Lannister is like, you could have done it, man.
Terrible in the very first episode.
Could have done it. Yeah.
And then you hate him for so long, and then I think you start feeling for him because he gets his hand chopped off, and you're like, oh.
Well, he also does slowly start to make better choices and stuff too. Like Jaime could have fucking been another one that I actually would like put up there too, but like by the end, just nope.
I mean, the ending makes sense to me, but
it does make sense.
He was an addict. He's addicted to his sister.
Yeah.
He was that's always he was never going to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna kill my sister. No, it was never gonna be like that.
Yeah.
I just didn't like the stuff with Brienne like the night before.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like, why you screwed her over and she was great.
Yeah.
If he just left before they like fucked, then I would have been like, okay, that's fine. But because that, I was like, why? You don't even need that. Like, it doesn't really do anything. It just makes her like feel bad. And I don't.
Yeah.
That
I mean,
no
from
sense.
a writing entertainment perspective, they're trying to make you think that he has changed and that it's fully like he's gonna stay here. Then it's like, no, he's leaving. So, like, anyways, I need to get out of here. It's 4:30. I need to get on the road.
The last villain that had a good redemption and died right after, Iron Man.
Oh my God, you're the worst. Somebody cancel this man.
You said
Twitter
that
ban
the villain has to be redeemed and then die, and he died.
He does. But
spoilers.
I mean, he does die in a sacrifice too. So.
Exactly. So you know what? The villain dies at the end, but he redeemed. He saved everybody. It was fine. It was perfect.
I'm so excited for Falcon and Winter Soldier. I really am. That's gonna be so fucking good. Like, oh my God.
I'm
very excited.
Interested in how they're going. Yeah, how they're gonna tie everything.
Because I mean, again, I'm enjoying WandaVision, but it is very like. I am not, like, Sundays for me now with Attack on Titan, man. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. Sundays, I'm ready to watch that episode. Whereas I feel like a lot of people are basically on that same thing with WandaVision, but I am not. I'm just like, oh, it's out. Cool. I'll check it out. It's fun.
Because I just want the craziness. I want the
Yeah.
more craziness.
Once it kicks up, too, it's going to get even crazier. And it definitely has already started to do that with the ending here. I guess spoilers for WandaVision. Here, let's wrap it up and give slight spoilers. I do need to get on the road soon because it's 4:30. But my name has been Teddy Chinaris. You can find me on twitch.tv/Teddy Chinaris. Thank you guys for watching or listening to the ramblings of two madmen. Especially at the end here where I just rambled for 15 minutes about Zuko because I love him. He's my boy. You can find me on Twitch at the same thing, Instagram at the same thing, YouTube at the same thing. Not streaming as much as I would like to lately because I'm literally right after work going into my car and doing Postmates deliveries. But I think from now on, like this weekend, my plan is I'm going to do Postmates from about 5 to 10. So for about 5 hours, and then I'm going to come home and try and stream from about 11 to 1. And then I think I'm going to do the same thing on Sunday. So I think on weekends, I'll try and do 2 hours Saturday and Sunday at least. So that's my plan for tonight and tomorrow. You won't see it, but you can check the VOD.
True.
You know, this comes out on Monday.
And next
but
week.
yeah, Tyson, where can people find you as well, sir?
You can find me on Twitter at Tyson Pellegrini, Instagram Pellegrini_17, and Twitch T Pellegrini. I don't really have any plans. I was going to make like one thing out of that Destiny cookbook a week, and then there's a lot of stuff in there, and
I was gonna say it's probably hard, man. Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not hard. It's just it gets very expensive, especially when it's just one person. I'm like,
Yeah.
And so what I've
And you
said
probably
is
don't eat all
I'm
of it
going to do
either.
a minimum of one a month.
That's good.
So then if I feel like making something else and I have some stuff around, then I will. But and then I'll post that stuff on the Instagram. And yeah, other than that, I might be streaming. Maybe I'll stream the Resident Evils. Who knows? Follow to be sure. And that's where you can find me.
Nice. There you go. Well, that's where you guys can find us. Thanks for watching and or listening. We're going to talk about WandaVision for like a second and then get out of here. So, yeah, the ending. Fucking
So
great.
the ending is very... what's that Jim Carrey movie?
How many Jim Carreys?
The Truman Show.
How many Jim Carrey movies do you think I've seen?
None. Probably seen The Mask.
Probably like one, I think.
Oh my God.
What's
He's
that
a
one
Canadian
where-
treasure.
Yeah.
There's so many good Jim Carrey movies. There's a handful of bad ones. The Ace Ventura.
Bruce Almighty, I think is
That's a bad one. But the Truman Show. Have you heard of the Truman Show?
Yeah, of course.
Should I spoil the Truman Show for you? Or like what?
Fine, yeah. Go
So pretty much like he's like a kid, or I don't know if he was a kid, and he's sold to a TV company. And so the TV, like the television company, like makes this. I think that's what it was. Fuck, it's been a long time. Anyways, he believes
sold
he's like
as a person?
He believes he's just in the world, going to work. He has a wife. He has neighbors, but it's all just a reality TV show. So there's cameras everywhere. He doesn't know the cameras are there. He just thinks it's his life.
Well, that's absolutely terrifying and like cruel.
Yeah. It's very strange. And
I thought it was like I thought Jim Carrey did comedies.
oh, it is a comedy. It's like a dark comedy.
Oh, okay, interesting.
But I was getting very Truman Show vibes when what's her name? Geraldine?
What's the name?
Is it Geraldine? Yeah. When Geraldine gets thrown out and she's just like outside of the world that they're in.
I mean,
Maryland.
I'm trying to think of a good analogy, but there definitely has been stuff that I've seen, like shows or movies that I've seen that are like that are like the fucking simulation shit. I can't think of a good example, but I've definitely seen stuff like that it did remind me of those kind of vibes. Fucking spooky.
So she's so my prediction is like she's obviously like an agent of S.W.O.R.D. She's got the sword necklace, which I don't understand. Why would you wear the sword necklace? Why would you
Real
take
secret
something
agent
from the real
move there.
world I was like, hey, it's right here. Look at it. I'm like, that's neither here nor there. It's just to progress the story. But still, it's very weird. Yeah, she's a sword agent, and like she got like thrown out of like the world by Wanda. And then everybody like they made it seem like she didn't know where she was. But I just think that was just for show. Like when all of the vehicles were coming and I think that was just like,
I mean, she could have still just been surprised about,
getting
what
kicked out
happened
like that,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
but
I
yeah, so
don't.
it's a big simulation.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then
I
I'm
don't-
trying to
I
think,
still-
does that mean that Vision
got
is
nothing,
alive?
man.
But then I don't know how he could be alive.
I got nothing.
Because he does have the Soul Stone. When he has his face, he has the stone.
Yeah.
Or the
She could, if it's
Mind
a
Stone.
simulation, could be fake. Who knows? I don't.
And I don't
know.
understand with the kids.
This is why I'm like,
twins.
Like I said, WandaVision
But see, this is the thing. It's like it's
weird.
it's great because it's like they do these things, and you know that they have meaning.
Yeah, and I know that they will show it to me, but they are too far out there that I'm just like, I got no clue, man. I just fucking show it to me. I'm excited to see it, but like fucking twins, I don't know. Why the fuck are the twins?
I don't. Well, it's like obviously there's twins because she was the twin.
Yeah,
That makes
like-
sense.
but like,
But then-
what's real and what's not?
Well, it makes me think when like they were having that conversation and they're like, "Did you know?" Like she was talking about like, "Oh, Geraldine, she doesn't have a husband. She's new to town.
Doesn't have a home.
Doesn't yeah."
That's
So I'm
what-
like,
that's when it's
so I'm like,
like,
okay, so
ooh.
Geraldine is like an outsider, so she's real, but like in this simulation, like everybody else is kind of like questioning her because she doesn't like fit.
Yeah,
Is my guess.
yeah. Agnes and Herb were,
yeah.
I guess, I assume part of it. I assume just part of the simulation.
I think so.
Yeah.
And so I wonder, yeah, like. then
Going a
where
little
does-
far there, trimming the hedges there, bud. It's like, oh, you're right, I am. Just keeps going.
I love how like oblivious everything is. Everybody's just so oblivious. And it's
Yeah.
just and it kind of works. Like the doctor when he's like, "Oh, I'm going to go to Bermuda." And then like later in the episode, Vision puts him on his back and just
Runs
sprints,
him over.
and
Yep.
nobody says like anything. Or
This
the
is
stork-
why, like,
the
it's
stork
so
was so fucking good.
Yeah.
Like, she-
Oh my god. The like, this is why it's hard for me to analyze WandaVision because it's so fucking weird. And I again understand that they're going places, but I got nothing. I just sit back and enjoy the weirdness of like the stork is there. It was funny, but like
I love it because it's like two characters that we haven't really spent a ton of time with. Like they're always tertiary characters.
yeah, but they don't even feel like their own characters because it's in such a weird world, and they're just like they're the weird sitcom versions of their.
Well, like there was
characters,
that
you know?
one thing with Vision where like he sat down with Wanda and he's like, something's not right here. That was like,
was
wait.
cool because you kind of
I was
saw
like, was
them
that in
like
Vision's
shining
head?
through.
Was that in Wanda's head? You
Yeah.
just don't. I
I did
know.
like the way they edited that too, where it just like kind of skipped back. I was like,
Yeah.
oh.
But then you're like, who is thinking that? Oh man, it is so good.
Um,
I love Scarlet Witch like Wanda. So
The
That's
way
fine.
that they're literally editing the shit is so insane. Like the production for it is wild. Like that's what keeps getting me of like when Geraldine asked, like, I think she said, didn't Ultron kill him or something like that, or
Yeah.
did Ultron kill him? And like the way they shot that, and like there was like zero music and like zero anything. It was like silence. And like I don't know, the way they did that was so like, oh, fuck. It was great.
that's why, yeah.
Really
And
well done.
another reason why it feels like she's like a part of Sword is like I'm guessing that Sword is trying to get something maybe from Wanda. Some information,
Yep.
and so that's why they're trying to trigger something in Wanda saying like, yeah, Ultron killed
Maybe
Quicksilver.
maybe I'm crazy, but like that's probably what it is. But my brain also, I don't know enough about like about Sword itself, but I also was thinking like maybe this is literally a state that Wanda put herself in out of like fucking trauma because she wants to like live with Vision and like have a normal life, and Vision's dead, and this is Sword like maybe trying to help her get out of that, but because she is literally so powerful, something that in somebody normally would be in their head, like she fucking created a universe.
Yeah, it's so, man. That's the thing is like I'm excited for every episode because I want to see how they're gonna try and tie this, because they're gonna tie this into the MCU and how she's like in the next Doctor Strange movie and multiple universes and just everything.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm excited. That's WandaVision spoilers. I'm getting out of here. I'm telling you, I got Eric to catch up on Attack on Titan, so I have somebody to talk to about it each week. But goddamn, it has gotten to the point where like the progression from season 4 was, the first episode was like, okay, this is different but good, and then like through 1 through 3 it was like, I don't know about this. This is risky. What are you doing here? What do you do? I don't know. And then season 4 was like, okay, or episode 4 is like, okay. And then like 4 through 6 is like, okay, all right, I'm down with this. And then like at the end of episode 6, it's like, oh shit. And then literally episode 7 was, oh my fucking God, we did it. We're here, boys. Like there were literally a couple of moments where like a character would say something and like literal chills. And at one point I got out of my chair and was like, oh my fucking God, let's go. Like we reached the peak anime hype. It's going down and there's still more shit to come. I'm excited about that. The music is killing it. It's very hype. It's like Attack on Titan, when it is at its best, is literally like just being hype. It's like My Hero Academia in that kind of way, where it's like just pure hype injected into my veins. And that's like, we're there now. We're there. But you gotta have that build up, I guess. Apparently. But that's the episode, folks. I'm getting out of here. I gotta go walk my dog and then get to work. So thanks for chilling. Y'all have a great rest of your week, since this is coming out on Monday.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.